Hi, my name is Brian Thomas. I'm with Unicus ID. This video is to tell you a little bit more about who Unicus ID is, what we do, and of course then to talk about the Shepherd system, which is our use case for correctional supervision. And I do want to mention this presentation is confidential and not for public domain, so please don't share this with anyone without express written permission from Unicus ID. Now, let me go ahead and move this video portion up to the corner of the screen. And then I'll start showing you a few things regarding Unicus ID. Unicus ID is a software as a service type of company working with primarily biometrics. We say we are innovative biometric solutions working on a number of different use cases. We currently have 13 US and international issued patents, and we're actually working on some more. So we can do what a lot of other people in biometrics can't do because of those patents. And then our first use case is the Shepherd system, which is used for correctional supervision. That can be used for pretrial, for juvenile, drug court, misdemeanor and felony probation, parolees, work release, court referral. Basically any person who's in the correctional industry that needs to be supervised, we can assist with that. It is powered by the Unicus ID background and with the technology that we've developed. Moving forward, I want to show you a few of the reasons why we got into this particular use case, because we're trying to create solutions where we saw there were a lot of issues in correctional supervision. The first one being that the jails, prisons, and halfway houses were way overcrowded. So at every level, state and federal, local areas, we see there's a lot of overcrowding. And there's, honestly, a lot of people in those systems that don't really need to be there just because they're nonviolent, maybe first-time offenders that are not serious issues, but a lot of times they get jail time. So they're there in the system, but there would be an easier and much less expensive way to deal with those situations versus incarceration. So Shepherd gives an alternative to that. The second is that officers tend to be highly overworked with the officer to offender ratio that they're overseeing. Lots of equipment issues, false alerts for ankle monitors, for your traditional ankle monitors. And so Shepherd potentially can lighten those caseloads for the worker, allowing them to focus their time and energy on the ones who really need that attention, to try to get them just putting their attention on the ones that really are not doing the right thing. And the ones who are trying to work toward doing the right thing, they can still monitor them, but without having to put a lot of time and effort in there. And then, of course, the pricing involved, the cost to the correctional agency, to the offender, to the taxpayers for ankle monitoring, or even for incarceration can be extremely high, where Shepherd is an affordable option or alternative to that. There's no equipment for the correctional agency to purchase like they would under a traditional ankle monitor system, because what we use is a personal device, which could be, in this case, an Android phone with just a data plan. So someone that's being monitored could actually be, could get into the system for as low as $30-something for an Android from somewhere like Walmart. Let's just keep moving on. The process, what we do here is, and let me get my pointer out on the bottom here so I can point a few things out to you. So already, you see there's the offender and the correctional agency have a relationship of supervision that's been probably court-ordered in that case. So in this case, the offender would have a smartphone device, and the correctional agency would be able to use the Shepherd system to send over check-in requests. So they would be able to just answer those requests with a selfie type of response, just taking a quick photograph on their phone. Then Shepherd would be able to take their biometrics, which have been placed into the Shepherd system, and it verifies or authenticates even that that person is who they say they are. It's the person that you're monitoring. Then we share the location of that person once they've been authenticated. And so then the correctional agency can have a record, an ongoing roadmap, if you will, of where that offender has been. And that is all being recorded into the system for court use as well. And we'll show you what that looks like. Recording info in the system can be done 4 different ways. There's the random system generated check-in requests, which go to the phone, to the offender, and which, again, you see there he's checking in through a selfie. If the officer has any reason to want to see exactly where an offender is at any particular time, that officer can send a custom generated request over, and they can see where that person is. There's the option of the offender doing a self-check-in. If they just wanted to let the system know where they were for whatever reason, it could be an alibi situation to say, hey, I know something's going down over there. I want to make sure I check in and put my location in the system. And they can do that with their biometrics. And then there's third-party generated check-ins, which we'll go over in just a few minutes, but that is basically giving someone who may be a victim of a crime, they can actually see the location of an offender if that's allowed as well. One of the great things that we really like about the Shepherd system is that it has the potential to reduce recidivism. Statistics have shown, studies have shown, when an offender is given the opportunity to get plugged back into society, back into the regular roles of life, such as being involved in family, getting a good job, going to church, things like that, then they tend to stay back out of incarceration. They don't go back into their old ways. So we try to make this as easy as possible for someone to get back into getting some of their freedoms back while still being monitored successfully. And so this allows someone to go back to family functions. In this case, an offender who's on the Shepherd system could go and sit and watch their child play a soccer game, and they could be sitting in the bleachers with other parents. And when they get that check-in request, they can just say, excuse me one second, just a quick look at their phone, and they just checked in. They're still there doing family functions, but they're being monitored as well. Same goes for employment situation. They can be on the job with a customer, working construction, whatever they're doing, and still have access to that quick look at their phone when it alerts them. And then maybe going to church. I actually tested this in church. A lot of people look at their Bible verses on their phone now through different apps. And so a quick glance at your phone, even in a church service, quietly can allow that person to check in, or if they prefer, they could slip out of the service. But again, it's just letting them do the things they need to do and stay plugged in with family and with society. I'm going to show you what the app looks like on the phone. In this case, the far left side, we see just the main screen of the Shepherd app. And there's the self-check-in button I mentioned earlier. But when a request comes through, it alerts, then that person can pull up the log, and it shows here on the right side, there's some different requests that have come through. And the ones with the checks by them show that those have been successfully checked in. And as far as just checking in, again, I mentioned a couple of times that it's just as easy as taking a selfie. That's me there on the screen in the center. And you can see that all you're doing is just touching that verify me with your face in the screen, and it authenticates your biometrics and reports back to the Shepherd system. This is showing the officer's phone, and the officer can have any type of phone there that they use as long as they can text from that phone, and they can access the Shepherd system this way. So in this case, there is someone named Spike Pierce who's being monitored. And when the officer wants to know where Spike is, he can just type in the last name Pierce and send it to this Shepherd system, which is just put in as the contact in the phone. Then once Spike Pierce is checked in, it gives this address of where he checked in. So now the officer can see in real time where that is. Now, if the officer doesn't want to fool with this, he can just go back into the Shepherd dashboard from internet access and take a look at where the last locations were for Spike Pierce or for anyone that they're monitoring. And we'll show you that in a moment too. We also have the ability to set up geofences to know when an offender is entering into a specific area or when they leave a specific area. And we'll talk about that in a moment too. But this right here shows you what that looks like. Spike Pierce entered the geofence named work address, and it gives that work address. So now I know Spike Pierce is at work. And at the bottom there, Poncho Taylor, who is also being monitored, did not respond in time, and it's let the officer know. And then the officer can use his own discretion to choose what action they want to take. Do they want to reach out to Poncho? Do they know where Poncho is and they know he's okay at that moment? But it gives them options of how they want to handle that. Now, we talked about third-party check-ins. This is showing you that people who are victims, or even a parent or a guardian who wants to have access to an offender's location for accountability purposes, can have anonymous access to that location. What I mean by that is if a victim of, let's say, domestic violence. Maybe a woman wants to know where her ex-husband is because she wants to go out with her girlfriends and see a movie but doesn't want to run into him. So she can text the system that she wants to know where he is. And what would happen then is he would get a regular check-in request. It would look just like the ones from the system. He takes a look at that, doesn't have a clue that it's her sending the request. He responds biometrically, and then it sends her the address of where he's located. She can then say, okay, that's 20 miles away from the theater. I feel peace of mind to go out with my girlfriends and have a night out without running into him. Also, the parent or guardian of a juvenile that would want to help keep little Johnny in school, at work, wherever he's supposed to be, would have that anonymous access as well. Very, very good. We're very proud of that. We know it's going to do a lot of things to offer peace of mind and safety. So let me back out of this, and I'm going to show you what the system actually looks like. So here's the Shepherd dashboard. And the dashboard, it can be accessed by an officer anywhere there's an internet access. That could be in their desktop at their office. It could be at home or on a laptop. It could even be sitting at their favorite coffee shop on their personal device or their phone. So we can pull up case managers, list those out. That would be the officers in that particular office. We can pull up the third parties that have a need to have access to the location of offender, like we just talked about. And it's really easy to add those in. If we want to add to create a third party here, all you're doing is putting in their name and the phone number that they'll be texting the system from. Same with clients. If we want to create a new client, and that client is just another name for offender, then we'd be able to go through and put their basic information in: gender, weight, height, their citation or case number, the start date and end date of their probation, just basic information that sets them apart in the system. So let's take a look at a list of clients. And I'll pull up myself in here. I'll put myself in as a tester. I'll say Brian Tester, just as a test subject. And once we pull that up, we're going to see some basic information on Brian Tester. You see there's all the information that was put in. Shows the photograph. And then we have all these different tabs that we can look at. So if I want to assign supervision to a specific officer, here's the different officers that are available to supervise me. I can put in the different third-party people that might need access to me. I can take a look at my location history. And in this case, I don't have anything in here to look at, but if I had been monitored any time over the past 24 hours, it's going to show all of these locations where I've been. I can pull reports and look at the whole time I've been monitored. So over the last 30 days, if I want to report, this is actually what this looks like. I've already got one pulled up. So from this date to this date, it's just showing me how many times I was monitored. And so this background check shows the location of the phone. So this personal device I'm using, it's actually going to get the GPS location of that all throughout the day. And then peppered in among those is the biometric verifications right here that you see. And then there's even the geofence that was set up to show when I left work and when I came to work. So just to let you see, that's something that can be printed out. And here it shows even like where I went to lunch. These can be printed out and used in court or given to an attorney or to a judge, however you'd like to use those. Very useful. Geofences we talked about a couple of times. Let me show you what that looks like. In this case, I just kind of made up a situation where I'm not supposed to be near an ex-wife. Let's say that Brian Tester has a restraining order for the ex-wife. So in this case, I've got it shown where if I enter into this area, it's going to let me know, it's going to let the officer know that Brian Tester has entered this no-go zone. And this can be set up, again, for a work situation. If it was a sex offender situation, you could set it up where if they enter a school zone, it would alert the officer. There's a lot of different uses for this to help create safety. And you can make these as large or as small as you want. It can be as large as a city or as small as just a home. The ad hoc verifications is our newest implementation here. This gives us the ability, if I'm the officer, I can go into this system and I can push information out to the offender that they can look at. For instance, if Brian Tester, in this case, has a court date coming up on maybe next week, and I want to remind them, hey, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, you have a court date. So I can type that in there, and I can shoot that over to the phone to that particular offender. And when they get it, they're going to see that message, and they're going to authenticate and say, basically like signing for a package, that they got that information. That goes into the system then, proving that they did have that info. That can be used for drug classes. It can be used for just about anything that you can think of. Even if you just wanted, as an officer, to encourage that offender and say, you're doing a great job. I see you're checking in on time. I'm proud of you. I'm encouraging you to continue to do the right thing. And those things can go a long way, but the officer has the discretion of how to use that. But that's the basics of the system. A lot of great things. We're constantly looking for new ways to improve it. So we're very excited about it. If you have any questions about this, you can reach out to us or to your salesperson. You can reach me at bthomas@unicusid.com, or you can visit our website at unicusid.com. And we really look forward to talking with you about the Shepherd system. Thank you very much.